Welcome back. Chapter 4. I hope you got a DNA test, Lucky said as she jabbed her fork into my last candy yam. We were having dinner at one of our favorite restaurants, Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles, because Lucky wanted to get out of the house and away from her husband Joe. Truth be told, we both needed some fried chicken and collard greens. Lucky also had macaroni and cheese, which I passed on. No, I have not, Lucky, I said defensively. It happened before Carl and I met, in Flint when he was home visiting. Anyway, Kwame is a nice young man. He's 25, and FYI, he didn't ask to move in. It was my suggestion. How long is he staying? Why? I just want to know. But why? Because I want to make sure he doesn't turn out to be another burden. Maybe if you had children, you'd know that they're not a burden. Sometimes they can't be. You can't tell me Jaleesa isn't a burden, and Kwame isn't even your child, Laretha. She never calls me Laretha unless she's trying to act superior. He's got my husband's blood, Lucky. I don't need to explain it any more than I already have. But suffice it to say he can stay until he gets on his feet. You've already got a daughter who needs to get help back on her feet. Come on, Lucky. I have bent over backwards to help her. I gave her a job, bought her a car, paid her rent, her cell phone bill. I've done far too much for her, and what have I gotten? She steals from me and can't even bother to call me on my birthday or to say more than 2 words to me at my husband's memorial. She's 40 freaking years old, Lucky. I can't save her from herself. Point. She took a long sip of her iced tea and almost slammed the glass on the table. But you're probably going to have to if she hits rock bottom. We were both quiet for a while. Lucky looked as if she wished she could take that thought back. I just shoved my fork into her macaroni and cheese, but I couldn't taste it. Does this boy do any drugs? Has he been to college? Does he have a job? I got him a spot working with Carl's construction crew, and he's a few credits shy of an associate degree. And no, he doesn't do drugs. And you trust him? Yes. Waitress. We haven't even eaten what's on our plate, Lo. What is it you could possibly want? Water. This is your 3rd glass. What's up with that? I'm thirsty. You should tell your doctor it's a sign of something. The waitress appears, a young Hershey brown girl with thick, kinky tendrils that look like a halo and a round breast like I used to have. She reminded me of that girl who used to sing with the Fugees, but I could not for the life of me think of her name. Lauryn Hill. Sweetheart, can I please have another glass of water? Yes, ma'am. When she turned to leave, I realized I also used to have a waistline and a behind that didn't jiggle like hers. What's that pretty young girl's name who used to sing with the Fugees? Lauryn Hill, why? Dang, I forgot a lot of shit. The waitress reminded me of her. Oh, so how does Odessa feel about Carl's kid moving in? She doesn't know because I haven't told her. It's my house and she'll find out when she finds out. Anyway, enough about my life, Lucky. Let's talk about your world of change. Nothing to talk about. Joe's still living in the guest house, and if I wasn't so old, I'd divorce him. He feels more like a pet than a husband at this point. Lucky, shut up. I like Joe. We all like Joe. Sometimes more than we like your ass. And we almost don't blame him for moving into the guest house. You should try a little tenderness because all you do is complain. She knows this is true, which is why she didn't or couldn't say anything. The waitress brought my water and smiled at me. I wish she could be my daughter just for today. Are you going to eat that cornbread? Lucky asked. No, you can have it. I'm going to take it home for Kwame, along with the breast and thigh and a wing for me later. I talked to Poochie today. She says she has to have to get a hip replacement. She's been putting that off for too long. I'll bet she doesn't have any problem sitting in front of those slots. How's her mom? Her mama? Her days are numbered. Pooch is going to need help, but the rest of her family is on her last nerve. We both just nodded at that. You know what? I said. I think I'll forget about the wing and get 2 pieces of sweet potato pie instead. One for me and one for Kwame. Aren't you cutting back on sweets? I am. I'm eliminating things one by one. She looked at my plate and knew I was lying. I haven't figured out how to make any changes yet. I've only just started getting used to being without my husband. Hell, you can't change everything at once. It looks like you put on a few yourself, Lucky. And from what you wolfed down this evening, it doesn't seem as if you're really all that interested in losing any weight either. I have no willpower. I admit it. But my pressure is up, so I'm considering getting that gastric bypass surgery. Really? My doctor told me I need to lose at least 100 pounds or I could be in trouble. And I can't see any other way to lose that much. I'm already taking blood pressure and cholesterol medication. Since when? What difference does it make? She then bit off a big piece of honey cornbread. Neither one of us should even be in here, I said as I looked down at my plate. The chicken was fried. I could see the ham and the collard greens. The candy yams had brown sugar and butter oozing out of them. And then there was my beautiful cornbread. Did I really need to eat all of this? Let me say this, Lo. I know Carl kind of forced you to make some promises to us as part of his grand birthday bargain. But even though I know you're still grieving, I think the sooner you start making good on them, the better. I know. I'm almost ready. When are you going to trade in that ugly Volvo? None of your business. When she whipped out her Gold American Express card, I realized it had been 4 months since the 5 of us had had a group dinner. We try to get our whole crew together for dinner once a month so we can catch up and bitch and pretty much have our own version of female church. It's a thing we've done for decades, through multiple kids and multiple husbands, good and bad, but we hadn't had one since before Carl died. Lucky, I was thinking, it's your turn to host a group dinner. She looked at me like I said something wrong. You sure you're ready? I know, you sure? I nodded my head. The truth was, I was lonely, and I missed us spilling our guts and being silly all together. My friends are the sisters I wish I had, even when they do get on my nerves and call me out on my BS. But we've been doing this for one another all our lives. We grew up in the same neighborhood, went to middle school and high school together. Some of us went away to college and didn't go far, and one not at all. We know one another's secrets, the ones we're brave enough to share, which is why my kids and husbands and divorces have not been able to loosen our ties. Of course, we occasionally divorce one another, but we always find ways to annul it. But I can't have dinner at my house, Lucky blurted out. And why not? Because I'm doing some renovating. Now she was the one lying. Her house is beautiful and completely up to date, like a small castle on a hill above the Rose Bowl. Rather than question her, I gave her a chance to improve the lie. I just looked at her and waited. The hardwood floors are being redone. I can do next month or the one after. She tried to push her chair back, but it wouldn't move, so she gave it a harder shove. I need to get some peach cobbler to take home to Joe. Speaking of which, please don't tell the girls he's still living in the guest house. And why would I? Of course, I'd tell all of them, including Poochie, who said she didn't blame him. When I got home, Kwame wasn't there. BB King was asleep in Kwame's room. Traitor. I took a hot shower, put on one of the old lady nightgowns I got from Macy's during one of their buy one get one free sales, got a bottle of water from the fridge, fell across my bed and turned on the OWN channel. I closed my eyes for a minute. Do you like spicy food? I like spicy everything, I say. I don't know why I'm trying to be so cute when I haven't even been out with Carl but twice. So, can I ask you a very personal question? Butterflies started flying inside my belly. I take a sip of my margarita. How personal? No, not that personal. I was just wondering how old you are. I am thinking about lying, subtracting a few years, but then I think I shouldn't, since after we get married, he will find out the truth anyway. I'm 43, and you don't have to tell me I look younger than that because young men hit on me all the time. I start laughing to let him know I was just kidding. I believe it. You look about 36. I'm 48. I already knew that. You look good for being so old. I like you. I think I might like you too. It is hard for me to eat, but I force myself to, trying my best not to eat too much salsa, which always gives me gas. When we finish, we step outside, and of course the moon is spying on us. Then he takes me by the hand and says, "You feel like walking off some of those enchiladas?" And so we walk all the way to a park where he asks me to sit in a swing, and he sits in the one next to me. We tell each other where we've been, what we've done, and who we've spent our time with in all the years up until now. "So," he says, squeezing my hand gently as we head back to our cars, "you might as well get used to me because I'm pretty sure we're going to spend the rest of our lives together." Okay, smooth talker. I melt. He opens my door for me, bends down, and kisses me on both cheeks. "I don't want a big wedding," I hear myself say. "You can have whatever you want." I sprang up in bed. My nightgown was drenched. I looked at Carl's pillow and touched it. It was cold and smooth. I pressed my hand to my forehead and felt a smile emerge on my face. "I still miss you, baby," I said out loud. "I'm trying to learn how to live without you. It's not been easy. I've met your son, but you probably know that, and that he's living here with me. He looks like I imagined you did at 25. I'm going to do all I can to help him find his way, and my daughter too, because she's still lost, Carl." I turned the television off and drank the rest of my water in one gulp, then closed my eyes again. But this time I whispered, "My love still runs deep. Good night, sweetheart." Oh. I thought I was borderline, I said to Dr. Alex. "Are you sure?" She looked like she was about to roll her eyes at me, but then changed her mind. "Numbers tell us everything." "Well, I don't want to take any pills." "You don't necessarily have to take medication. There are injections you can give yourself." Was she nuts? I'm scared as hell of needles. Ma said she had to hold me down with her knee pressed against my chest to make me stay still for my shots when I was a kid, and that I kicked a few doctors in the process. You have to do one or the other. Either will help you lose weight. I believe I have lost about 8 or 9 pounds. You have not. In fact, you gained 12. Ouch. I so do not like this bitch, but she's telling you the truth. Well, my husband of 24 years passed away 5 months ago. I made some good changes before that, but got derailed. So I lied because she didn't look like she would respect the truth. I hoped if Carl was listening that he would forgive me. I understand, and I'm very sorry for your loss. The receptionist told me it was the reason you canceled your last 2 appointments, but you need to focus on your health now. Since I was now sitting on the edge of the examination table, I started pulling on the tissue paper cover, tearing off the corners. Then I jumped off and stood upright. She moved to the side as if I were going to harm her. "Look," I said, "I don't mean to sound so combative, but I've heard of people reversing type 2 diabetes if they change their diet and exercise." "Well, Miss Curry, for the past year and a half, I've been encouraging you to change your lifestyle, but you have not. And diabetes is the result of your not taking my advice." "I have tried," I lied, "but it's hard to break old habits." "The truth is, I don't like exercising. I don't like the sweat, and I like being lazy. But I suppose it really was time to make a change. It's not too late, though, is it, Dr. Alex?" "It depends. Your age might make it a little tougher." I could have cut her the way I looked at her. What's my age got to do with anything? It's not like I've got stage 3 cancer or something." "That's true. I didn't mean to frighten you." "Well, you did. I'm a little pissed, to be honest with you." A burst of cool air from the vent made the thin blonde nest on her little head waft to the side. I could see her pink scalp. "I apologize," she said with a half ounce of sincerity. "It's okay, Dr. Alex. I have never really trusted you, if you want to know the truth. You doctors are all alike. You aren't encouraging. You like to scare the hell out of people. You write prescriptions that don't cure the problem, just postpone it. Well, I'm going to find a doctor who has a better attitude about how a person can improve their health regardless of how old they are." She said nothing as I opened the door and walked out. "I'll show her ass, and I'll come back when my numbers prove her wrong. But not starting today, because what I needed before making this transition was a double cheeseburger, some soft fries, a Diet Coke, and 3 farewell Twizzlers. After all, I needed to process the promise I just made to myself. She pushing it. I was surprised when I saw a Kwame car parked in the driveway in my spot, so I parked on the street instead and grabbed yesterday's mail. When I walked inside the house, I heard what sounded like rap music coming from the backyard. I put my purse on the table and walked through the living room. When I opened the back door, BB King was lying on the top step, wet. At first, I heard water splashing, but then it stopped. When I opened the gate, there in the pool was Kwame with his arms around a tall, blonde young man. He looked over at me and his brown skin seemed to turn red. BB King barked. "Go lay down, BB." "I'm so sorry, Mama Lou," Kwame said. Even though this is what we agreed that he could call me, it had sounded more endearing up until now. "What's your friend name?" "Parker, ma'am." "Well, hello, Parker," I said, acknowledging Kwame's embarrassed companion. And then my eyes turned back to Kwame. "What I really want to know is, what are you doing at home this time of day, Kwame?" He looked surprised at my question. I'm sure because the tone of my voice did not indicate outrage or anger. "I got fired." "Who fired you?" "The supervisor." "You mean Marquez?" "Yes, ma'am." "How many times have I had to tell you not to call me that, Kwame?" "Yes, Mama Lou, I'm sorry." "Sorry about what?" "This," he said, pointing to Parker in the pool. "What's to be sorry about?" They both looked shocked. "You have a right to like who you like. I'm old, but I'm not that old. So why did Marquise fire you?" "Because he found out I like guys." "What's that got to do with the quality of your work?" "Nothing." "Did he bust you doing something like this on the job?" "No." "Then what?" "He saw us holding hands after work." "That's it?" He nodded. That is none of his damn business. Look, I will talk to him. It's your father's company. I'm sure we can get your job back. But I don't want it back. What? I don't like doing that kind of work, but I wanted to have an income after you were kind enough to let me move in with you. And so now what? Are you rich, Parker? No, ma'am. Are you two going to live together? No, Kwame said. Are you going to kick me out? No, but you can't just do nothing. I was hoping to go back to school, but I don't know what I want to study. I thought I could work part-time until I figured it out. If that's okay. Doing what? Do you need any help at the House of Beauty? Shit. At this rate, I'm going to need to get a bigger place I'm just going to have to get a bigger place just to staff all the people I hire as personal favors. Possibly was all I said. Look, I'm going inside. Have fun, but not the kind of fun you would have if I wasn't here. And then I closed the gate and B.B. King followed me back to the house. I wish he had just told me he was gay. He was probably scared and thought I wouldn't be able to handle it, but he was wrong. Nobody should have to hide who they are inside to please people on the outside. Okay, that's the end of chapter 4. It was nice, sweet, and short, and it was a little funny. They definitely need to lose weight. So do I. So this chapter is very encouraging. So that's going to help me get on my grind. But that's all I have for chapter 4. I shall see you in the next chapter. Bye for now.